afternoon. Welcome to TPK Roleplay and to Murder and Coffee, the GM talk show where we talk about all things TTRPGs and game mastering. I am Sarah Franco, a holiday wood elf that fell off your shelf and one of your hosts this afternoon. My co-host, as always, is the Queen of Snow and Ice, hailing from the craggy northern peaks. It's Luka.
Today, we will be talking about our home, TPK Roleplay, and all the great memories and GM lessons we've learned. A nice, good old-fashioned trip down memory lane, talking about DMs earning their wings. We will be accepting audience questions from all of you GMs and intrepid adventurers throughout the stream, so feel free to post them in chat. But before we get to all that, we don't have a guest today.
We don't. It's been such an incredible year for not only the two of us, but this community at large. So we wanted to take a moment to celebrate it all in the holiday spirit. So I figured instead of introing guests, Luka, we could introduce ourselves. What do you think? Is that okay?
I don't like talking about myself, though.
Too bad. Luka, talk about yourself. Talk about your GMing. What do you do? What do you make? What do you create?
Yeah, okay. Hi, I'm Luka. I started GMing in 2018 for the very first time. I was a GM before I was a player. D&D was one of those things where I always really wanted to play it. Like, I'd see little minis on my friends' shelves and like, how do I get in on this? But, you know, the BBEG of D&D is always scheduling. So it was like, oh yes, come play, write up your character sheet. And I'm just holding this piece of paper, very excited, very confused. And it never happens.
Yep.
So in 2006, though, I started playing my very first MMORPG, Dungeons and Dragons Online, where, you know, it's very much like, wow, except all the mechanics actually do work on rolls and stats and everything. So I'm over there with an Excel spreadsheet, like calculating how I can also do like the Blade Ward, but take a level of sorcerer as a cleric. Right. And, you know, so like, I feel like I went into it a little familiar. And then in 2018, I watched a video on YouTube by Cosmonaut Marcus, where he was like, hey, 5E's out. They've got this starter kit, Lost Mines of Phandelver. If you've always wanted to play TTRPGs, but haven't yet, just get it. It's $20. Just go. Just go.
Let's do it.
And I was like, okay. And I called up my friends, you being one of them, and I was like, hey, I want to play D&D and I can't ever be a player, so I'm just going to do it. And I'm going to DM. And we started running Lost Mines of Phandelver, and then went on to Curse of Strahd from there, and I've just never really looked back. And then, of course, Cole, a fellow Salt Lake streamer that I was familiar with from his Subnautica streams, was like, hey, I'm starting up this group called TPK Roleplay. We're going to play D&D online. And I was like, yes. Hi, I'm here now.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I have an idea for Harper Investigations, which is just, since we're all online and I've always struggled with like getting a group together, I want something that like, we don't always have to show up. Like, you can just hop in for a one shot and maybe next week you can't come, so someone else brings their character. So just this rotating one shots thing. And we started Harper Investigations as our first like solely TPK campaign.
Oh,
that's how I started. Sarah, what about you? How did you start your journey as a DM?
My GM journey. So, I feel like my journey started before I realized it. I had some roommates that were like, "We're gonna start playing Dungeons and Dragons," and I was like, "Nerds." And they were trying to play 4th edition, I'm pretty sure, and they didn't get past character creation. Like, they sat around in the living room. They were trying to make character, and they're like, "This is too much," and they like gave up. But that was the first time it really like pinged my radar of like, oh hey, there's this thing that exists. And I'd read some of the books when I was like in middle school and stuff. But it just kind of like went on the back burner of my mind. Like, I've always played video games and enjoyed board games and stuff like that. So then the Adventure Zone happened, which is the McElroys playing Dungeons and Dragons with their dad. And I was like, you mean to tell me the Dungeons and Dragons is just you fucking around with your friends at a table? I'm in. Like, I was in so hard. I'm in so hard. And I was like, okay, great. And a bunch of my friends were in as well. They were like, okay, we're gonna sit down. We're gonna do this thing. And we had a campaign that ran for like 2 years. And just was kind of a part of like the background of my life. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna play some Dungeons and Dragons. I absolutely freaking loved it. It was so choice. And then eventually it led to you joining TPK because we played TTRPGs together. You joined TPK and you're like, hey, but like for real, you should come do this thing.
Hey Sarah.
Hey Sarah, you want to fuck
Come
around
with me?
You're gonna fuck around at a table and tell some cool stories, my guy. So here we are, a year later. Well, yeah, I mean, really, like a year later, I GM'd my
2 years.
2
You're
years?
forgetting the COVID lockdown year.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But in the course of that year, I wrote and completed my very first end-to-end campaign, The Bard's Refrain, and I ran a bunch of goofy one-shots, some that were complete improv, others that I had written the narrative to. I competed in the Iron GM. I got to like participate across different communities. I co-hosted on Murder and Coffee, getting to talk to incredible creators through the space and learn a lot there. And tried a bunch of new systems, which is really, really great. So that's me. That's my GM cred, I guess. But also talking about cred, I want to talk about our sweaters because they're cute, dog.
I don't know where the camera box is, but yes, this is my.
They're very cute.
Christmas sweater.
It's the Fellowship right here. Look, there's a little Gandalf.
It's the beholder, and he's guarding a little chest.
Oh, they're so cute. Oh, we're the cutest girls in the world. There's never been cuter girls in the world. We're the best ones. Also, as I slide my fucking Chemex over, both of us nearly forgot our coffee for the show. We were like we went live and we both went, oh no. Ran to go.
There's something we're missing. What is it? What is the name of? Listen, I did my ritual murder this morning already, so that was taken care of. But I forgot the coffee until we were going live, and it was a little panic. I have here coffee spiked with hot cocoa mix.
Ooh, girl.
Girl,
you're living your best life.
Yeah. So, and you have Sunny Side Up.
Sunny Side Up, my cute little breakfast mug.
So optimistic.
Girl, hi, my name's Sarah, and I'm gonna bring some pep and put it into your step this evening. Yeah, no, I got Intellihista. There's just their house blend, which is delightful. You can get it at Whole Foods, I'm pretty sure, where I got it. Yeah. There you have it. I should have put hot cocoa in mine, though. Damn it. I didn't think about it.
So good.
I need to do
very, very sweet, but it is very, very good.
Yeah.
Tell your friends.
Tell all your friends about this cool hack.
Hacks.
Yeah, that's what you're really here for, chat. Is to learn how to make better coffee, and wear cute sweaters. But no, let's talk about it, Luka. It's been 2021. It's been a year, and we have some great opportunities to celebrate some of the wins here on TPKRoleplay, some of the great work, and kind of just talk about our own experience GMing. And I just want to remind chat, like, feel free to ask questions, chime in with your own stories, so we can have a conversation about how wonderful this year has been. So let's dive into it. Hey, Luka, I want to know, what new skills did you learn this year as a GM? Like, what are things that you picked up that have helped elevate your game?
So I'm actually kind of proud of this. And obviously you don't always see it in Harper's because I do embrace the chaos there, especially in season 2.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing I really wanted to focus on as a GM is the pause before reacting. Because I feel like I have a lot of instinct to immediately react with like what my first
Right.
idea is.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm not saying I always have bad ideas. Sometimes they're pretty good. But then later I'm like, man, if I had taken 2 more seconds to just think, I would have thought, you know, because your players always surprise you with something off script, off the books.
For sure. Absolutely.
And when you have to react with something that is not prepared, just that moment of pause, it's okay to take a beat, even if you are on stream and people are watching away. It's like, I'm going to take a beat. And you don't have to, it's just like, okay, you do this. Okay, and this is what's going to happen, rather than like, oh yeah, and then this happens. So I've really tried to focus on that, and I feel like I'm still learning, but I've come a long way in allowing myself the pause, just that like extra 1 or 2 seconds to let my brain think of like, oh, this is an idea. No, wait, we've got a better idea. Let's do this.
Yeah. I love that, and you've touched on something that I feel like as GMs, like there's like that pressure. Respond.
Yes.
Have the coolest idea instantly. Like
be quick. Yes.
Yeah. But oftentimes just like giving yourself the grace and taking a beat, like it's important.
Sarah,
matters.
I feel like your ears are flopping like a night elf right now when you move, and I don't know if they're actually flopping.
No, they know they are.
Optical illusion, but I live for it.
They absolutely 100% are. Sarah fact, I have inordinately small ears. Like I have very small ears. Like in earbuds, like are a challenge because I just have very small ears. So when you buy something from the internet that's designed to fit most human ears, odds are it's not going to fit your ears.
Just normal ears. Yeah, just normal.
But you do your best, and it's like you don't move fast. You don't make direct eye contact. You just keep it moving.
Every time you move, it's like bloop, 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 bloop.
Oh yeah, it adds a little bit to the whimsy. Like, wait, can I wiggle my ears? You can. Oh my god.
There we go.
Yeah. That's amazing. No, I can't.
Listen, I was a weird kid, and one time I saw someone do that, and I was like, just staring into the mirror for hours until I get this kind of level of intensity that I brought to everything as a child.
That's how I was with double jointed fingers. We're off topic, but guys, we're home for the holidays, and this is what happens when your 2 crazy wine ants come over. They just start telling you stuff. Yeah. Gosh, this is a hard question for me to answer, I think. Because I go back and forth. Yeah, now you can't unsee it. They're just gonna be moving a whole bunch, gang. It's gonna be great. I would say, like, from a GMing perspective, I've learned that, like, a skill that I've learned is to embrace the narrative as it's happening. Like, a little bit what you're saying of, like, taking that beat, but it's more like... It's funny, Bright's in the chat right now, and we've had several long conversations about this. But, like, leaning it more into the aspect of the improv of GMing, and, like, trusting, like, as you gain experience at the table, not being afraid to, like, embrace that experience and say, no, I've got this. I can roll with this. And I would say it is a skill that you need to, like, put time and effort in to building up that comfort level. So instead of being like, and here are all my beats, and here are all my checks, and here are all the things that's going to happen, it's more like, well, here's where I think we're going. And no, they're not going there at all. I'm going to take a minute. I'm going to take a deep breath. And we're just going to meander in that direction. Yep. But I wonder if that's just experience in general. Maybe not necessarily a skill. But I don't know. What do you think?
It's also failing a lot. One thing I love about Monster of the Week is when you fail, you get experience.
You gain experience, like real life.
Because I feel like that's so accurate. Because, like, you always hear... I was watching something where a comedian was talking about, like, how you get that really tight set of, like, these jokes. And it's, like, what really teaches you, like, where to whittle. And it's, like, a fucking silent room. Like, after, like, that's, like, so it's all the, like... all the little things where, you know, after you're done jamming and you say goodnight to everyone, you go lay on the floor under your ceiling fan and just like...
Noir and Anita call it the Odin GM sleep. And I'm like, yeah. 100%. 100%.
Yeah, that during that GM sleep, where you just stare off into nothing, over analyzing every moment of the game.
Yep.
I feel like rather than just like I did everything wrong, it's like, okay, I am less than 100% pleased with how this moment went. What would I do differently to handle it better in the future? So it's a lot about what you do in the after, like, because I feel like it's very easy to get in your head and just like, I fucked it up. It's trash. Whereas this was less than ideal. How do I prepare for this to happen again?
Yeah.
What would I have done differently to fix it? And then by answering that question, the next time something similar happens, you're more prepared to deal with it, and it goes a little smoother.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
It's that failure experience of leveling up.
It really is, and like taking away the lessons learned. I feel Heck put in the chat, it's the GM adrenaline. Like, you get all hyped up because you're so freaking nervous going in, and then it all happens, and it's like, ooh, ooh, ooh. Like, it's like, go back and make sure that it was like I actually lived that. Did I actually do that? I kind of blacked out for a minute. But one thing that like I think is important to normalize are those feelings of anxiety. It is that, because like I think it sucked. It was bad. It didn't go the way that I thought it was going to go. It was horrible. They hated it. They had a bad time. Like, I know almost every GM that I've ever talked to has experienced that on some level or another. And so I think it's really important to be like, yo, no, it was probably really good. And your players probably had a lot of fun. And helping like each other, like being supportive GM to GM to get us out of that like weird groove that you fall into after like every single session. Like, it's just this weird like, and now I go to the sad cave, like my fortress of solitude with my notes that I don't talk to anyone about, and like the way that I should have known. Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Chat and players don't know every little detail you may not have included.
Yes.
They but don't like know. You know.
Yes, you know.
Yeah. So
yeah.
It's rough out there. Like, it really is. And I wonder, so like,
so I would say, okay, so the whole don't beat yourself up too bad. I relate TTRPGs a lot to pizza. There is pizza that I have had in Italy that I remember the taste of. Like, it was so good that it isn't just the taste, it is the experience. Like, I feel like I can hear the memory of this, like what was around me when I ate this pizza. And then there is pizza that I have had cold the next day, incredibly hungover, and I was like, this is pizza. It's still pizza. It's not life-changing pizza, but like, this is pizza. However, there have been a few times where I had pizza where it was like, God, did they use tomato paste instead of like marinara? What's happening here? I will not be eating this pizza ever again. It happens very few and far between.
Yeah.
But most of the time, TTRPGs are pizza. Even the non-polished, non-custom artisan, blah, 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 it's still pizza. Who doesn't fucking love pizza?
Absolutely. I think that's important. Like, you can be hard on yourself, you can do all the things, but talk to your players, and players talk to your GMs. Like, one thing that I want to do, a personal goal for myself, not only as a player, but as a GM, is like after the session, like talking to the GM or to the players and saying, this is what you did that I liked, or this is what went great, and like calling out specific examples of like, hey, this was really cool. Because then it's just that positive touch point of like, you know, I liked this thing that you did, instead of that like, did they like anything that I did? Was it cool? Was it not?
HP
like,
does that with his games. And
yes. Like,
very nice.
Even just like a quick DM that's like, hey, this really cool thing you did with the story, I'm freaking out and I want to know more, because I'm sitting there thinking that. Why wouldn't I just tell them? Because then they know, and it can be great.
Yeah. Pizza Absolutely. And sex and D&D. Either way, you're gonna nap out.
Oh, hell yeah. Right. Yeah, get it.
Yes.
Get it.
Accurate. And Oh, what was I going to say? I forget now.
Well,
But
yeah. I mean, chat just got chat just got like turned up.
thanks, Bright.
Mm, 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 mm.
Okay. So we are talking about these are the things I enjoyed. This is the story moment that I
Yeah.
enjoyed. And I would like to ask you, fellow GM,
Yes.
what's your storyline you're most proud of?
Oh.
Or beat, story beat, I guess. I don't know, because like I feel like we're all very familiar with the particular storyline that you told.
Yeah.
But if
Yeah.
there's just like a beat you want to focus on,
Um.
perhaps.
Yeah. I'm trying to. I'm trying to think because I feel like. Here's a fun thing. Story wise, at the beginning of November, I ran By the Old Oak Tree, which is a one shot that I wrote. It's one of the It was the second session I ever ran as a GM ever. I did it in a home game. I like wrote out all the outline and had it, and I ran it with a group of friends. Uh, and it went, but it did not go as new baby GM Sarah had anticipated. Getting to rerun
I'm
that,
familiar with this story.
getting to rerun that with like a group of talented role players and like people really invested in character and storyline was so gratifying as a GM, because it was like I got to see this thing from two different angles, and like one from like new baby GM and then another one from like toddler learning to walk GM kind of a vibe, and like getting to see how different that experience was and how the story like shone through despite character choices or anything like that was really really rewarding. Like I the Bard's Refrain like aside, like I think having that kind of that incredibly rewarding experience of you guys engaging with these NPCs that like have lived rent free in my head for like 3 years. You know what I mean? And it was amazing. Like HP approaching Phil and like asking for the daughter's name, and you guys just like going hard for the little kiddo at the tavern. Like all of it just came together, and while I was a part of that and I like wrote behind it, watching the players fill it out, I think that was definitely a high point in my 2021. How about you? What you got? What you got?
I mean, I personally feel like the last quarter of Harper's season 1, I will never outdo. Do you know what I mean? Like it's just that moment where I had been running an entire campaign towards this goal, and I got to get everyone crying and then switch to that moment. That tone change will live forever as the highlight of my career. But this year, honestly, in Dark Echoes, I know they're not like particularly like big story beats, but all of the little moments that you guys have taken along the side of the road, coming across corpses with vines rotting inside them, things like that, where because like I have this whole thing fleshed out that I've been wanting to do for a while, and I have no side encounter that isn't just a little breadcrumb to something that, if followed, can be gathered up with other bread, and it's a whole loaf of bread for you. So having players that aren't playing the game like a video game, that aren't just, I'm gonna run in and I'm gonna smash the pots and then we're just gonna fast travel to the next town, where we can get the next set of quests and do them and then get our experience and fast travel to the next town. The actual like playing with a group of people that like you guys investigated these things, you poked around at the ghosts, in that abandoned hut on the side of the road. You've got like a glimpse into this, what I want to be a living world. You sat in a hut and talked with Jenny for like a whole day, and there wasn't just this whole like, well, I don't trust this old lady. Let's just, loot her place and run
Yeah.
away. None of
Yeah.
that. It was very much like, okay, we're going to just talk to you. Hopefully not die, but let's have a chat.
Yeah.
So it's not really the loud story beats that I've been enjoying. It's more just the fact that I have people at my table willing to play with me rather than
Mhm.
just like, we would like the content now. I would like to smash these pots.
I would like to
XP,
face
please.
XP, please. Yeah, exactly. I know. We talked a little bit about this last month with Harrison. It's those little moments, right? Like the little moments in the stories that like you, the GM, get to interact with. Like one of my favorite things in the entire universe as a GM is when I throw like an NPC out there and the players go, "Who's that?" And then I get to be an absolute fucking gremlin. Like I get to like go hard as an NPC
Or god painting.
or a god painting or what have you. Like it's the best cuz then I like feel like I get to like play more. You know, like as a GM, like you're setting up behind the scenes and you've built the set, you've got the actors and the cues, but like when the players go over and like poke at different things is when you actually get to come out and play with them. And it's in those little moments like on the side of the road. Like it's like, oh, I can put my prep to the side now, and now I'm just playing with you. Hi, yes, hello. My
Yeah.
name's Bug Boy and I have bugs. Like it's just, like it's
Yes.
that's it. Like giving it, and it's hard too, like, because you on one hand you're like, but I have a plan and they need to get there. I want to shout out an incredible GM that happens to be in chat right now. Ash and Rabbit. I'm a player at her table. Her campaign is literally just the little moments, just like crammed into a can of amazing. Like it's, as a player, so much fucking fun because I can go around and I can talk to whoever, and every time I talk to them, like they are a full fucking fledged person, and like with quirks and weirdness, and like it's so fun because like I play every week with Ash as a player, and it's so fun to be able to play across the table with her as a GM because it's that same like good flavor, but just like slightly different, and she is phenomenal. Like some of my favorite moments, we were in a tavern once and my wizard asked for a bubble bath, and the tavern keeper was like getting us a bubble bath, and Saint tried to throw some shit at her being like, we gotta be careful though, there might be vampires. And Ash, without missing a beat, vampires, they're not even real. And I fucking died. She said so much about this dumb little tavern NPC with that single line than like I had done with NPCs with paragraphs of backstory. And it was just like, oh my gosh, you're a fucking genius. And this is amazing. And it's so very good. And I wouldn't have known that if we hadn't had the chance to like play and engage with the NPCs. Sorry, you said a thing and I'm like, yes, 1,000 times yes. But that's it. You know what I mean?
No, like I feel like, yes, we are prepping and like we are the guide to this world, to this story.
Yes.
Like we have prepped all this stuff and like, here, come play. But it is very much like, come play this with me. It's
I love that.
collaborative storytelling. And yes, we are a little bit the narrator and, the voiceover, telling you what's happening and things like that. But we also are there to collaborate and tell stories with you. We want to play too.
Yeah.
We're not just there because we love the OneNote and the organizing and
I do. God help me, I do.
But we also want to play.
Yeah, absolutely. To that end, I mean, talking about like the NPC and the improv stuff, I want to talk because Luka, we both role players. That's what we're here for. But I want to talk a little bit about the mechanics of GMing and talk about like what's a mechanic that you'll be leaving behind that you're just like, I'm not fucking with this no more. Like this mechanic's stupid and I hate it. And what's one that you've come to appreciate more through like gaining experience as a GM?
I feel like I wouldn't even be able to name the one I've left behind because I feel like very early on I was like, I don't care about this. I don't care about this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care about this.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not even there's been recent ones.
Mm-hmm.
I've been not following the rules for a while now.
Rules? What are rules?
Rules.
Bounds of imagination? Get them the fuck out.
Here's the thing. Most of the time, one of the mechanics I leave behind is the like social roles. Unless there is a very, very specific thing where you are actively like trying to use your skill to persuade someone or intimidate, like very specifically, then yes, make a roll. But most of the time, I'm not going to make you roll if you're willing to role play with the NPC or role play out the situation. Sometimes even like I don't require like a skill check if you can tell me like the narrative reason why you can do something. It's like, I have spent my entire life growing up doing this thing. I see this opportunity, and yes, the monster's over there fighting them, but I am going to go out and do this, a thing I've done a million times. It's like, yeah, you would know how to do that. I'm not going to make you roll for that. So leaving the roles aside in favor of the narrative storytelling is always going to be what I do.
Mm-hmm.
I get that to answer the second part of your question, I understand that when it comes to combat, sticking more to the roles and the rules and guidelines is important because it is set up to cause conflict. And so if you're constantly throwing things away, the conflict doesn't hold up. It doesn't stand up on its own.
Right.
So I have learned to respect combat a little more, and the rules surrounding it, and realize the importance of some things. But if we are not in combat, like, and it's not like I roll to hit, it's very much like, yeah, talk to the shopkeep. Are you convincing? You've convinced me. Okay, you've convinced the shopkeep.
Mm-hmm. Or
this shopkeep, like, yeah, you said a joke and they're a sucker for puns.
Yeah.
So you got them. That sort of thing.
Yeah.
I have learned to respect the combat roles and leave a lot of the social roles behind.
I feel like my answer is very much in line with yours. Because GMing the Bard's Refrain kind of taught me this, because I had fucking Rael at my table who had like a passive perception of like 27. It was disgusting. And so for me, it was like perception checks, investigation checks, like I'm learning to accept that like I don't want the mechanics to get in the way of my characters or my players feeling like badasses. Like if my character, exactly what you said, if I have a player whose character is a detective, why would I like make him roll to see that an armoire has been tipped over? You know what I mean? Like, or like notice this thing, like leaning. So I would say the thing that I'm embracing more is leaning into the passive traits and like not even having them roll. Just like, you've built your character in such a way, here's the passive trait. Great. We're just taking that. We're just rolling with that. And having a lot more fun in the ambiguity of like a passive check is definitely something that I'm like, yeah,
if you've got a 27 passive perception, then like why would you even roll to perceive what's in this room? Like, you've looked in there and seen through space and time,
right?
Like, but then you roll and get a 1 and it's like you look and it's like, I've gone blind.
Yeah,
like it's,
but that's
passive should carry a lot of that.
Yeah, and it's funny, you were like, and you roll a 1. I think challenging myself to be more creative about lower skill checks, right? It's not that you don't notice everything in the room, it's just now there's a complication. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, your check was low, so there's a complication. Like, instead of, and you don't see anything. Like, I've sat at tables where people will like roll their check and they know that they got low, like they got a 5. And they like, I've had them ask me the question, is that too low? Like, or is that a fail? And I'm like, well, now time out. Like, there's no such thing as a failed check. Something's still going to happen. It's just going to be something different. Yeah, Chrissy, I think low skill checks don't equal failure. Exactly. It just means maybe things don't go the way that you intended. And sometimes it's hard to like get in that mindset of with mechanics, because it's like, but the objective was 15 and I'm 7 below that. So like 7 degrees of bad, you know? So I think that can be tricksy, you know? Ash added to someone who studied a specific topic would definitely be someone constantly on the lookout for things related to that topic. Yes. And like as a GM, I'm like, reward your players and your characters for building out backstories and interest, right? Like, yeah, they know about this thing. Fucking, we're adventurers and we're fucking elves and shit, and we can shoot magic out of our palms. Like, let's feel like we can do those things. And I totally feel you on the battle mechanics as well. I think combat for me is always like, my biggest fear as a GM is like combat feeling slow. Combat feeling like a blow for blow exchange of HP. Like there's no narrative or like badass feeling to it. It's just, let me punch you. Now I'll stand here and you can punch me until we're like 4 hours in and we all want to die. But we can't die because it's D&D. We all have cure wounds. Like we're just going to keep fucking going. So I think, I mean, so something I'm gonna leave behind, set monster blocks. Like if I'm done, or narratively speaking, if the moment is past, I don't need you to like hit for the like all 300 HP. Like if it's serving no point for the fun anymore, I don't care. Like, yeah, dude, you fucking killed him
in the next hit.
Yep, because it's like it reaches up, and not being afraid to do that, because it's like, I don't need, or even like armor class sometimes. I'm like, you know what? No, that you guys have been wailing on this guy for like freaking 4 hours. Yeah, his armor's
away.
Exactly. Like not being so committed to that, because like on one hand, yes, committing to the like the grittiness of combat to make it feel more real, but not to the point that like we're just gonna slog through the next 4 hours of this game and not get to do any of the things that people want to do, or like not let my barbarian feel badass and rip limbs off because they got a 5 on their athletics check against something smaller than them. You know what I mean? Just like letting the game feel cool and not getting in your own way about it, I think is my big thing. And I think it comes with experience, right? You start with the rules. What's the saying? You learn the rules so you can learn so you know how to break them, kind of a vibe.
Yes. Because the thing is with breaking the rules, bending the rules, ignoring some rules, is that you have to learn where your consistency lies. You've got, like, you don't want to ever be unfair or feel like your players don't know what to do. Like, oh, okay, well, sometimes when I do this it hits and sometimes it doesn't. That's just going to lead to frustration. So it's
you learn just cannonball.
You learn to just like balance the like, yes, you've hit this guy enough, like I'm gonna just pretend that he had way less HP that he did so we can end this fight. But it's never like, yes, you did that successfully last time, but this time it doesn't work for reasons. You've got to like learn how to still be consistent within kind of guidelines while breaking the rules.
Exactly.
So that everyone feels like they're still being treated fairly and have something to rely on for the conflict.
Absolutely. So as we're having this conversation, there's a couple of people in the TPK community I can hear screaming in the back of my head where it's like, stop playing Dungeons and Dragons and play games with the mechanics you actually like.
Yes.
And to that question.
This is accurate.
Right. To that question though, are there any like systems or games you're looking forward to that you played this year that you liked and were just like, this is very good? Or ones that you're looking forward to GMming particular in the new year?
So there was something. Sir Heck ran a TPK Coven game where we played Velvet Glove. And I don't know why, but something about this system appealed to me. The system wasn't even set up so much as like it wasn't set up in a typical, oh, these are the mechanics of your character, things like that. It was very vibe driven almost. Like, here's your archetype. Like, we're all these teenagers in the 1970s, this girl gang in the 1970s.
Yeah.
You know, very like dazed and confused, wandering around all day, going to a party later that night, like causing trouble, like, oh, meeting up with them, like that kind of thing. And it's like, which one are you? That sort of thing. And the moves were very like vibe oriented. It wasn't so much like, oh, I've got a +5 to punch and things like that. But it was very, it let you, it was almost like a character building, not in any sort of like stats kind of way, but it felt very character building in like who the character is. The moves were very much centered around that. I fell in love, and it was so simple.
Yeah.
Not to the point where I've played very simple systems that were very rules light, to the point where it was like, this is maybe a little too rules light because we come to this thing and no one at the table really knows what to do. So it's like, well, let's do this. And that's fine. But this was rules light in the way that you felt like it was, like it just helped you expand. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I was in love with that system. It was such a simple little fun vibe of a system.
Yeah.
So I loved Velvet Glove. I look forward to ever getting to play that again. But there's another one that I really want to play that I found on itch, called Fellowship.
I want to play this game so bad. Just gonna rep real quick. I want to play it so bad. I want to play it so bad.
So yes, and I have plans for this because I was going to run it for our Women in Gaming event, but plans fell through that session. We had a bunch of players that couldn't, and so it never happened. But the mechanics for this game is like, when you create, you show up. You're showing up to the council at Rivendell, basically. You're the representative of your race, but your character creation is the creation of your race.
Just want to play it so
you're
bad.
The hero of your race. What does your race look like?
Yep.
What do elves look like in your mind? What's their history? You're like world building at the same time that you're character building. You're building an entire race, all their history, how they tie into this world as you show up with this. Your backstory is your race's backstory. It's like, yeah, elves don't have long pointy ears. They have slender hands, like, you know, fingernails made out of the rock from the mountains there. You know, things like that, where it's like, you decide what this looks like for you, and you are the hero of this race show. And it's like, what? But also, in that system, the GM is not a GM. The GM is a player at the table. They're Sauron, basically. They're the baddie. And so it's very much like a group world building collaborative thing where, yes, I am trying to like influence you and get the things that you want. Like, I don't want you to get to Mount Doom, like all that sort of stuff. It is a very cool looking system, and I cannot wait to play it.
Oh, this is very good.
I really want to play that. What about you?
Okay, so this year was crazy. I played like Altered Carbon, Stargate, freaking all the top shelf stuff, DDTV. I'm missing one in this moment. Monster of the Week. I was trying to think. There was another one that was really present, and now I've forgotten it. There's too many of them. I got to play a ton of different systems. I feel like my answer is going to surprise folks here a little bit. But Altered Carbon.
Really?
Yeah, like, here's the thing. We did not play it as intended.
We did not.
We did not play it as intended. That being said, I think there was like a grittiness to that system that like when you failed or when you like lost, it hurt. You know what I mean? Like, there was some real skin in the game for a lot of that stuff. And as someone who's like, the more TTRPGs I play, and particularly when it comes to like combat in those spaces, wants to have a little bit more risk, I do think that system kind of brought. Oh, Star Trek. That's the other system that I played, which is very, very Star Trek Adventures. Very, very good. But even that, right? Like, so let's break it down. We've got Altered Carbon, we've got Stargate, and we have Star Trek. They're all sci-fi based systems, all based on like very popular franchises, and they all feel very, very different.
Very different.
They are completely different, and the flavoring is like amazing, because like Star Trek is it is pushing that, like exploring, dealing with social situations, investigating like a mystery, and like Anita, if you don't follow Anita, she runs Critical Misses. You need to fix that right now. She is a goddess of storytelling and absolute fucking delight. But like, it feels, what I love about it is it feels like Star Trek. We're playing Stargate, or you just wrapped up Stargate with HP, and HP is a phenomenal game master.
Finale was last night.
Yeah, so he's incredibly talented, but we're doing, you know, we've got Phoenix that's wrapping up, and that feels very much, again, it's that exploring piece and that like figuring out what's going on, but it's got that like archaeologist kind of like put the clues together.
So it's like very reflavored D&D with like a touch of Pathfinder.
Yes.
Because it's got the reflavored like kind of sci-fi D&D 5e, but it's got all of the feats and things like that. The very like the like little drop feats, you know, where you can just completely customize out and branch out forever, and no two exact character sheets, like they start out the same and then you get to the feats and it's completely different.
And then Altered Carbon, how many different freaking skills are there? There's like 40 skills. So many. And what's really cool about that is like, what's hindering about that? There's 40 different skills. What's really cool about that? What's really cool about that though is like, your characters are just like so unique in how you spend your points and where you spend your points. Like, you can both be like, you know, spies or smooth talkers, like quick talkers, but like where you've spent your points, like if there's like a 5 or more difference, like here or there, it's just completely different. And like, again, so freaking crunchy, but I think it gave me an appreciation though for like, again, it's I'm starting to view mechanics more like, you know, when you're a kid, the like weird like net jungle gym things with all the bars and they're like the half dome thing. It's like that, right? And then it's just, well, how can I hang from this from my ankles? Like, that's how I'm starting to like view systems, where before and I still do, like Iron and Lies, you just show up and you tell lies to the Fae. Noir's in chat, he knows what's good. Like, it's like it was so fun to just like endless opportunity of just like, I'm gonna say some shit and it's gonna be amazing. And it's just gonna work out.
Top Shelf, right?
Yes, that was my very first Top Shelf, I think. I also loved Keegan EXE's DDTV system. Was this like weird like reflavoring of like Dungeons and Dragons tropes, but in this like really easy like sit down, learn, and just go fucking nuts kind of way. Like, it was delightful. In the new year, I'm looking forward to running a Powered by the Apocalypse game. I've like played Powered of the Apocalypse games, but I'm really excited to run one from the GM perspective, because there's parts of it that are amazing in that like I have to like be totally honest with my players. Like, if they succeed on a check, I just have to tell them everything, like, here's the thing. And I'm so excited for that, because I feel like within like GMing, it's like, I have this cool secret, and if you don't get the right check, I'm not going to tell you. And it's like, no, you will have to, and you'll never find out. And then the rest of the game is you trying to figure out how to like tell your players that thing that you wanted to tell them. This system's like, fuck that, tell all your secrets. And I'm like, yeah. And I'm looking forward to running that game. I'm looking forward to really getting in and like being a keeper instead of a GM. I think it's been really
Yes.
exciting.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
and it's gonna be really fun.
I'm gonna brag for a little bit, but
Do it.
TPK played over 40 different RPG systems this year.
Oh,
So
absolutely. 40.
That's the number to beat in 2022.
I'm pretty sure we're gonna beat that by the time we like get to March. Like,
yeah,
this community is insane, and it's so great. Like, we've had Heck who ran Dungeon Bitches at the beginning of the year, which was phenomenal.
Yes.
Like, we just a couple of notes. Like, if we're talking about
coven runs,
all the different coven runs,
coven runs. There's
how successful and cool that's been to represent women and LGBTQ plus, folks in this space.
If we're shouting out GMs, I've never had a GM before that like can just pick up a system and like she writes these systems, these games where like they perfectly understand the vibe. Understand, like Dungeon Bitches, we were all there for what was happening. There was none of this like, oh well, we've got the material, but I'm very confused why we chose to run this adventure with it. It's even with Velvet Glove or the forest one that was very like Hilda-esque.
Crap, I'm not gonna remember, but I know Camp
Moose.
It was it Camp Moose? Heck,
Flying Moose.
Camp Flying Moose. Yes.
Heck.
Yes.
Yeah, no, just perfectly capturing the vibe of what this adventure is supposed to be, like what this system is supposed to be. Like, here is this, and Heck is just like, yeah, no, I understand this. Here is this perfectly written little system and adventure for you all to experience the vibe of this.
Yeah. I'm very much looking forward to seeing like more activity like in the coven space, because I think it's again, like as a queer lady, I think it's super neat that we've created this space where, women and queer folk and non-binary, like all the people can just like come and participate in a safe environment, understanding the assignment, get to play these like quirky fun games. I think it's been really meaningful, and like kudos to Heck for like leading that and really making it a priority and giving people a safe place to do that. Hey Heck, you a real one. It's the fucking tippy tops.
Close. Camp Moosing Fly was the
yeah, and there's also space to allow new players. Absolutely, Chrissy. Like, it's just it's really something special, and I think something that TPK can be really proud of in the regard of, hey, let's create this space where people can come in, they can be safe, they can play the games, they can tell the stories that they want, we can find systems that have the vibes that resonate, because like that was the thing with Dungeon Bitches, right? Was just like, it's weird to be simultaneously called out by a game and like feel at home. Like, that game came for my kidneys. Like, I was like, I'm gonna make this character, and it's like, and I'm gonna tell you everything that's like hurt about yourself in the next 4 hours, and I'm like, shit. Like, like it was incredible, and it was like getting to explore things from just this completely different narrative side and aspect, and having the mechanics support that narrative exploration was just fucking something else.
Hey, all my femme presenting and non-gendered bitches, do you have trauma, and would you like to be at a table with those like you, where you very supportively just kind of play through it in a very safe and not super like, we're not trying to therapize TTRPGs, but like sometimes you just want to talk it out to your bitches.
Hell yeah.
Like, get it off and at the table.
Hell yeah.
It was very wonderful.
Yeah, it was fucking delightful. I'm gonna hit pause for us for a second, because we're at an hour and we have a whole bunch of other TPK stuff that I want to talk about, celebrate, and get into, as well as GME stuff. So chat, go ahead, go get a warm up on your tasty bev of your choice, or a cool down. I don't know. I'm not your mom. Do whatever you want.
I was in England recently, and my friend's grandma was handing me coffee and was like, would you like some spiced rum in that? and it was life-changing. So just saying.
Maybe go do that thing then, I guess.
Yes.
So yeah, we're gonna take a quick break. We're gonna come back, throw some questions in the chat or some things if there
Yes.
were moments or we are here to celebrate our little TTRPG family and spread some Christmas holiday cheer. So whether it's in the DMs and Discord or here in chat, throw what you want to talk about, and we will do that thing. See you soon. Step Purple bringing an excellent question. We talked about our favorite RPGs we played. What was one of our favorite moments from a game that we played in this year? And a follow-up, a favorite moment from a game you were maybe not in. Yeah. So this question is so hard to answer.
It's so hard. Especially
it's so
because
hard to answer.
I feel like the past 2 to 3 years really have started to blur together for me. Especially with lockdowns and everything like that. I feel like time is a construct. So when you say this year, it's like, oh, this thing that happened yesterday.
Well, and I think the question too, like, I admire so many of the creators in this space. So it's so hard to be like, and Purple says, okay, maybe not like the best one, but like a top one. And that's totally valid.
What if we did a quick review of the year and the sessions we like, the systems we played in our, and like see the moments that stand out to us?
Oh yeah, like I'm a huge fan of this because they're like, oh my god, this year was crazy. Like,
yeah. So what I have done is I have pulled up TPKRoleplay's schedule, and I have just titched it back to January of this year, and I am just looking. Like, honestly, there's some that where it's like, that was this year, that could have been 3 years ago or yesterday. I'm really not sure, but
yeah.
55 Below Zero was amazing. I felt like that was ran by Fazul, and I felt very much like I was playing in the 80s sci-fi action movies.
Yes.
Very, very much so. There was a point where an alien like creature like shot out and like wrapped its tentacles around my character's leg, and like I full on had to lift my legs up off of my chair in person and like tuck them under myself because it was just like so that was very cool. Also being able to play a scientist that like is just thinking about survival, like she's the final girl, she is going to make it through to the end because survival is the only thing that matters to her. Like being able to correct all the "what are you doing? Don't open that door" times that I've screamed at the TV. It was like, no, I am going to play her like I would want to be in this movie.
Yeah.
So that was a cool one. Yes, Dark Echoes did start almost a year ago.
Yeah, Dark Echoes started in January. We also had Jasper's Game Day charity stream in January, Lasers and Feelings, run by Niffer, that was freaking delightful.
We had where we managed to snag Bright.
I'm pretty sure that's where Bright entered into my life, and it's been the best, most tippiest tops of things ever since. Like yoink. And this person is going to. The joke is,
congratulations, you're being rescued. You're being adopted.
The joke is like wherever I go, I just drag Bright. Like, also here's Bright, and it's the best thing in the world. It's legit wonderful. I mean, going into February, we had like Dungeons and Bitches. We had Killer Kobolds. Holy shit. What a fucking like
Killer
ruckus time.
You showing up. I remember I was such in the zone. I had prepared an entire Google document of gruesome ways in which to kill people. Gruesome and hilarious. Like if I were to just splat, like kill all of these little kobolds, like what are the different hilarious ways? And I spent like a week compiling that list and was just going through like just checking off. Yeah, like I killed someone in that scenario, I killed someone like that. It was amazing. And then you showed up to like, you popped in with yours and you had done your makeup to look like a kobold with the fangs and everything. And I remember I couldn't think for a minute, like my mind was just blanked, and I was like
Yep. It was so
and
good.
it took me a second to go, like, because you just showed up like, my queen.
My queen.
Completely took me out of it. And I
Yeah.
had to, like, concentrate to, like, get back into the swing of murder.
Survived about 10 minutes. Totally worth it. No regrets.
Better than some.
Right. We also had February was when Foxy ran the Starfinder one shot. Which was phenomenal. Like, kudos to him. Like, that was
the farthest dawn.
That was the first time that I got to see Foxy at like the GM side of the table, and it like again, I want to hype the talent that we have in this community. Foxy's ability to like craft like exposition and narrative from the GM side of the table is astonishing. I just joined one of his games over on Neon Lights Roleplay, and like I'm just freaking in awe of this guy. Like, he'll like sit down and like he talks you through a moment, and the details that he pulls out are not the ones that are immediately like, he's not describing the room, he's not describing the vibe, he's like describing the space in between. It's like negative space exposition, and it's the coolest thing. Like, as I was sitting there, I'm like, I want to learn to do this. Like, the guy's got freaking chops. It's real good.
I remember watching Toward the Farthest Dawn, and he had all these things like set up in Roll20. Like, he had the sounds of the crowd outside as they were like preparing this moment, and it was just like, as someone who spends a lot of time developing the
vibe
side of things, like the music and the little sound pings and things like that, like it was very very good.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We ran Dungeon Bitches for my birthday. We did
Honey Heist
Galentine's Day, where Heck wrote basically what was Peach's fever dream for Harper's
bears.
But bears, yes. That was amazing, and I feel like that was another one of those moments where it's like, I feel duped. I feel like I was led along on this trick. Okay, I am in March now.
Yeah, I mean, Winterhold's Finest, Star Wars Thrawn, Breakfast of Champions, like plus all the regular stuff.
Can we talk about in Thrawn? Ekaj played Boba Fett, and he said to one of the people, he's like, don't think that I haven't killed someone with my father's face before. And I was just like,
cold chills, cold fucking chills.
Like, I was like, that's a weird thing to say, and then I realized, and I was like, they've all got his father's face.
Yeah.
I feel like my Star Wars brain exploded, and the fact that he just popped that line, like as he like shoots this guy in the face, it was just like wasted. Full on, like gif of me, it goes black and white, wasted, plays across the screen.
Ekaj brings that heat though, like every time. Like Ekaj is an incredibly talented role player. Like his little quips or one-liners, I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit, but like Madness It Calls Forth, when there's the moment with Job and he's like talking to the NPC, I can't remember their name, but he's like, you don't carry that, that's mine. I was like, like I felt it in my core. Like it was genius and beautiful. And like, that's not even to freaking mention Harper season 2. Like, oh my frigging god. Like, Ekaj is a powerhouse. That guy crushes it. And like, any opportunity I get to sit at a table with him is absolutely
Ekaj
delightful.
For president, for sure.
Ekaj for meme president forever and all days. You also ran Zorpies. That was the full beard. Zorpies. That was the full beard session, wasn't it? In March.
Very, very itchy beard. Yes. Itchy beard. It's the worst. I don't know how people do it. But yes, I ran Zorpies, and I got Purple and Mr. Rogers at my table.
Yes.
And there was a whole thing with water and create water that we don't need to go into, but it was there. It
was hilarious. Happened. It was very good. 10 out of 10. Would recommend.
Yes. We did. Oh, we had Murder and Coffee with Christy. I remember that one. We did Murder and Coffee.
Yes.
And then of course, Chrissy did Breakfast of Champions.
She already mentioned it in chat with the little puppets, Rory and the puppets. I just screams and like Cole with the toucan.
Cole with the toucan.
Amazing.
100%.
Just incredible. Turk also ran Mask of the Worms, this was creepy, awful little one shot that was so interesting though. It was delightful. It's wild to think that Roundhouse Whitebridge was running in March. Like that for me, top tier campaign.
Yes.
Top tier campaign.
Yes.
Like I miss playing Marty in my bones. Like I would give anything to like be able to just play as Marty for the rest of my life. Like that table, like with HP, like I've screamed about this. I screamed about this at TPKCon. I've screamed about this like every opportunity I get. The dynamic between Marty and Thomas.
Perfection.
I want to live in that space forever. Like Purple, yes. You asked about like top or like RP moments, like legitimately, like the seamless, effortless banter between these two characters and like exploring what it means to like love someone. Like those two characters, like the way that their energy kind of like matched. You had Thomas, who was this kind of emotionally like cut off person who was awkward and like couldn't connect at all, and then you had Marty, who was like hyper connected with everyone, and like just how they bonded and came together as like brothers and like two people who loved each other and wanted to take care of each other in this like way that I don't think people like explore, you know what I mean? Like, or rather, it's not, people explore it, but it's just not presented all the time. And getting to like be a part of that, of like these two people that are like, we are gonna make it, I'm gonna take care of you. Like I may not take care of myself, but I'm gonna take care of you because like we are in it together. And how that just like the magic of TTRPG is just burping together. I want it injected directly into my veins, please, for the rest of my life. For the rest of my 100%. Freaking life. Oh,
100%.
Oh, so good. Moving into April, we had Atrium of Aquarius kicked off, run by the Rut-Row one-shot, the Scooby-Doos. Are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me with the Rut-Row?
Atlas Daphne, though. Atlas Daphne.
I cannot even. Like, I just can't. The whole cast was phenomenal. They crushed it. It was
also a special shout out to those of us that have support for our strange hobbies at home. Ekaj's wife making him as Shaggy
the sandwich.
The sandwich with the layers, the very much like Shaggy sandwich. I went to their wedding recently and I congratulated her on her wedding day about that sandwich that she made for Ekaj for when he was Shaggy. I was like, you don't understand, like, this is the kind of like at-home support that everyone should have for their strange, weird hobbies.
Yes.
Please have a wonderful, blessed life for ever making that sandwich. Mm-hmm. Like, oh my God.
I mean, Darkest Night, Brightest Light was still running Queen's Gambit, run by Magic. Like, such a cool game with like he's got the crafting system behind the scenes that I've like only heard amazing things about. Like, it's really cool to see like a long-term campaign with like different active mechanics, because again, that's not something that I prioritize, but getting to see that and hear from the players how cool and interesting that is freaking delightful, and very, very, very good.
Destroyer of Worlds also started in this year. Meg, with her alien lore, it's to the point where it's like anything alien, I just send it to her. It's like offerings, my queen.
Yeah, no, oh my gosh, like freaking Meg and her understanding of like the sci-fi genre, like, and just how she vibes so hard in that space, like it's honestly inspiring. Like, it's so cool to see people just like find their niche and then just excel and be brilliant at it. Meg with all things, her Ripley
cosplay.
Are you kidding me? Oh my God. Oh my
Yes,
god.
Chrissy, Magic needs to. I have heard this many times. Magic needs to branch out to other TTRPGs.
I believe in him.
Perhaps in 2022 we can, we've got to beat that 40 number of.
We're gonna. Come on.
Yeah. So like clearly we'll just have to tell him that he's got to,
Mm-hmm.
add on to that number himself.
Yeah.
Man, TPR was still running
Yep.
this
TPR.
year. This year is both the shortest and longest ever in existence.
It's wild. Like if we jump to
Mhm.
May, we had things kind of continued on as normal. I ran the random one
Roundhouse.
shot. We had Roundhouse season 2 kicking off, which was a freaking trip and a half. Like that, the comparison between Roundhouse season 1 and season 2, and like the different energy and different vibe. Like I thought I felt the feelings with season 1. Season 2 was just like, you have not even yet begun to cry. Like it just, holy cow, like amazing, just amazing. We had like I'm looking at, we had our regular lineup. Atrium, can we just put our hands together for fucking Altered Carbon though? Holy shit! Like
You were
Fazul,
talking about the system and it being like so crunchy, but like what I really appreciate, and I'm learning this in Lord of the Rings too with the system, for that one, is his ability. We talked about this at the very beginning of today as well, like the ability to choose narrative over
yes,
a role.
yes.
Like there were so many times where it was like he's like, tell me what, give me the narrative moment, like give me the cinematic moment. The dice be damned. Like I want that. I want us to all feel engaged, like we're part of something bigger.
The
And
pink
he just
backpack,
rolls with it.
the pink backpack, like having that mechanic at all, like was again inspiring to me as a GM, because he just had a backpack full of stuff that like would fuck up the narrative on purpose.
But
Like
they were pre-planned, like story moments.
yes,
Like if this happens, like we can run this whole campaign without ever touching anything in there. However, in there are story moments
yes,
for both that can be inserted into this campaign or inserted for each character. And he just had them prepped and ready so that like if they happened, it was like, well, I didn't prepare for this and it's not how I would have inserted it now, but like we're going. Like
yes.
he posted all of his original stuff on our Patreon of like how he planned it to go.
We did not go that way.
We did not go that way. I mean, so much of it, it's like how you planned Azuth to just be in that temple and then suddenly
nope, they're taking him everywhere. And it worked out in the best possible way, but like playing through that game and watching his adaptability to whatever we pushed on or whatever came out of that pink backpack and just rolling with it. Like again, I think as a GM, I looked at it and I went, oh, like it was an aha moment of like, no, this is what that adaptability actually looks like, and creating those meaningful moments, like Kai and Morgan at the bar, like just those quiet moments, or Fade at the fucking diner with the AI that loves her, like freaking
one of my, if we're talking about favorite moments, one of my favorite moments was actually from a failed role in that. Because Fade was using the Centillion like creature, the alien type creature, this ancient god, and was using it to connect with Morgan's like consciousness, and like I failed the role to like be able to like reach through that. And so then it was just like, I've got it with me, and like you were running off the bridge and I was like, well, I've completely failed the role to resist anything, so like I'm running off the bridge too. Like it's this weird mirror thing, and we both like go off the bridge. Like it was such a cool, it's the most
so cool
I've ever felt like where you can fail up. Do you know what I mean? Like fail narratively to where it doesn't matter so much that you failed your role. Like you roll with the narrative moment.
The moment is larger than the dice roll, right? Like it's like, exponentially.
I failed what I wanted to do, but the failure like was an even cooler moment. And it made me like realize that like it's okay if what you have planned to do fails. Like the failure, what comes from you failing that role, can be even cooler than what you were originally hoping for or planning.
Right. And I I want to stop too because I think like Morgan and Fade were interesting characters like from you and I because we play a lot of TTRPGs together, but those characters were really interesting in like the different direction. They were both came from a place of like not necessarily knowing what happened in their pasts and kind of went in opposite directions. And so there were a lot of times where like the way they adapted or approached a situation was very different. And watching those two characters like experiencing being a player playing off of your thing and us still like navigating and staying true to those characters and the crossing over as we continued forward was really cool to see. And it was that snarky, like frenemy kind of punchy vibe that was really satisfying. Like, and again, like the dynamics of like my character cares about this person despite or maybe even because of like the challenges presented was really cool. Was really cool.
Well, I remember Fate even had a moment where she like realized like, oh, we are very different, but like also kind of the same. And I think at one point like she came up and told Morgan that in her very own way.
Yeah.
Where it was like we are kind of the same. You know, like okay, like we can be friends because we're kind of the same.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In June we had Be Gay Do Crimes, which was fucking delightful. We had again with Fazul, There's Something Wrong with the Rats. Tyrant started running The Wrath of the Many, his little mini series that like amped up exponentially over the course of things.
Went through like levels 1 through 20 in 4 sessions or something like that.
Yeah, which was super cool. We also did Generational, Proper's world building thing, which oh my god, Generational is so fucking cool and such a great resource for GMs. If we can link to that, we absolutely should.
I've got it on our itch collection.
Awesome.
I've put it in chat.
Generational changes changed the way that Sarah, approached homebrew world building completely.
Yes.
Done. Like before I would have like tried to sit down in a vacuum and create something from like scratch. Never again. Generational changed the way that I approach beginning a campaign fundamentally. It's powerful. It's powerful.
Building the world together, like, and then once you have that world and these myths that you've created, like with your friends, and then like, I think it would be so cool to do that and then play a game in this world that you have built, like all this lore right from the beginning that you and your friends have made, and it's like, okay, now we're 4 adventurers sitting in a tavern in this world that we've built. You know, like what happens?
What are we gonna do? Yeah. You say that's something you would like to do? How does
is that something I can do in 2022?
I think maybe we should get a little dirty and lean into that and do that. I don't know, maybe like mid 2022. Maybe get some cool clothes. I think I could probably put something together.
Yeah, I'm totally on board. If you're wanting to do that and you know need a player, super on board. If you could just give me the details on that.
Yeah, maybe. We'll chat.
Getting dirty, purple.
Yeah, maybe.
Yes, we have very dirty plans for 2020.
The dirtiest of plans. We're gonna jump to July because we had God King's Calling there. Derelict. Electric. There we go. Yep.
We also had TPK Con.
Oh my god, TPK Con.
I feel a little distracted by Derelictric just because running Ghost Lines was so cool. It's that Blades in the Dark setting where, oh my god. So the world is so cool. But it was very much like Snowpiercer, the TTRPG, but like with ghosts. And instead of like this whole like, oh, we're working against we're cool people with run down mech systems, working the line, keeping all these Richie mucky mucks safe from the ghosts that like haunt the rails of these electric trains. It's just like, what? What? I am here for this content. Yes, that was run by Proper, and I'm very excited. I'm excited for part 2 coming up soon. I don't know what it's gonna be, but it's another thing to look forward to in 2022.
Hell yeah. We did some like some behind the screen stuff, which was kind of Murder and Coffee adjacent, but we just kind of sat down and talked to some folks about some things. Hi, my name's Sarah, and I just want you to tell me what you're passionate about. That's all I really want. I just want you to tell me everything that you love, because like getting to like sit down with people and hear like this is the thing I'm good at and this is why I like it is like the best thing. And I just want it all the time. TK Con 2022 though. I'm excited to see.
Yes.
I'm excited to see what our. I know we've got to avoid. We've got to avoid spoilers as much as we can here, but very excited to see what kind of content we pull out for TPKCon 2022. I think it's gonna be.
Yes.
I think it's gonna be legit.
I'm very excited.
August we had more Winterhold's Finest. I think Winterhold's Finest is coming back in January, end of January, where we'll have another session. Hopefully, using one of the new one-shots that we got from our very cool guests on Murder and Coffee Midnight Tower. I'm really looking forward to that. We also had Cancer Bites, the charity stream.
Yes, it's a honey heist styled TTRPG written by our very own Meg and Syria. It is on itch. I linked that again, but I guess I can, or I linked that before, but I can again. But yes, it was all about fulfilling the urge to eat the rich without actually spending time in jail. And it was a charity stream for cancer.
Yeah,
it was great.
I want to just highlight how much the TPK community has like done for different charities. We've had several charity streams throughout the year. I know we've had during multiple months, Black History Month, and other areas.
We did Color of Change. Color for Change. And then the cancer one, the cancer, I forget the actual whatever, but we've done the women in gaming, women's shelter.
Yeah.
I cannot think of others.
There's another. We also did thank you, Purple. The Trevor Project. I know that players have donated their earnings from games. So like as people subscribe to the channel or make donations during streams, players have then taken that and turned it back to give back. And I legitimately am so humbled and proud of this good group of folks that we have here that prioritize helping others. Like it's really fucking special.
Not only was Bite a charity game, but it was a game made by one of our own. Art, I believe, was done by Proper, so it was like a collaborative effort of our own friends and community members that then was ran on our channel with other community members to benefit a charity. Like that's just the whole package right there.
Yeah, it warms the heart, right? To be able to do something that we enjoy and have it be meaningful to other people. It's just, y'all are the best. Yeah, and NAACP, the Trevor Project, Jaspers in January. Just really, it's just really fucking cool. I like nice people. And we got a bunch of real nice people here. And it's fucking...
Also in August, Madness called it forth.
Yes, Madness called it. Okay, freaking, let's put our hands together.
Okay, so I have ran a real life puzzle room with Proper, and he is very into it. And I did not realize that he would be bringing that to his campaign.
That energy, yep.
The fact that on the overlay, like I don't know how he's running the game as the GM and then also doing all the like stream production, because like he will change the overlay like mid stream. There will be a new QR code or a new little hint or that like on the, and it's like, hurry, everything stop. Like while I'm trying to role play in character, it's like, let me just really quick snap a QR code, take to this thing. Like I know Chrissy ended up following it through like to where she reached a voicemail service, like left a voicemail and it called back with like a text message of like, please go to this website and register for this thing. And it was this whole like following all of these like leads and like as if we were really investigating something in real life, which we were in real life, but for the game that we play, the level of immersion I was not expecting it, but
Yeah.
it is the good juice.
It's so cool. It's so cool to see too.
The
Like
good
it
pocket
just
juice.
it's so much pocket juice. Remember, don't store your pocket juice with your pocket sand. That's how you get pocket mud, and it's no bueno. Yeah, no, it's watching Proper kind of step up into that game master role and really lean in with Madness It Calls Forth. It's been so stinking cool, and Proper's been like talking behind the scenes, like GM to GM about that campaign as he's building it out. Like it's fucking cool. Like the time and energy that he goes in approaching the different modules or like the different pre-written stories, taking them, pulling them apart, dissecting them line upon line, and then like feeding clues back in and all the different ways that he does that. You said like escape room. It is very escape room-esque. And like as a viewer,
100%.
It's like so cool because like you get to participate in solving the mystery too. Like it's less about like, oh, I picked up on this hint or whatever. You actually get to like go through the little treasure map to find the different stuff, and engaging the audience in the actual storytelling itself is really fucking cool to see.
Yes.
I also want, before we get too much further out, because it was in August that Darkest Night, Brightest Light wrapped up, the HP's Curse of Strahd campaign, which was so stinking cool. Like, as someone, I'm playing through Dark Echoes. I'm starting a new Curse of Strahd game over at Nat 20. Like, it's just been really cool to see how the different casts and everything pass through. Like, Noir's character, Uther, so cool. So stinking cool.
So cool.
That arc.
Noir always brings it, though, with his characters.
So stinking cool.
This is known.
And then HP, like, playing Strahd, like, as the game master, again, like, elevating the vibes, playing Strahd, like, on the social media, taunting the players outside of the game. Oh my god, it was so cool. Like, just the different little Instagram stories or the things in the Discord or the tweets or whatever, like, building the ambient, like, energy up to that finale was such a creative way to, like, get your players hyped, like, to get them, like, in the mindset of, like, we're gonna get this guy. Like, it was so cool to see, like, just directly engaging outside.
Everyone's always like, you're running Curse of Strahd again, and it's like, yes, there is no two Curse of Strahd games that are exactly the same. I mean, even if you're running it by the book, it may end up that you end up killing Strahd in his kitchen while he's grabbing a midnight snack sandwich out of the fridge and just completely blast him away in a matter of seconds.
I want that.
They were running it by the book. I still can't believe that.
I know. I want it so many. I want it so many.
I want art of that moment.
Yeah, I do.
Like, sandwich half up to his mouth, like coming up
in his robe and like boxers.
Open,
yeah.
Just blasted away.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
100%.
But like, and they were running it completely raw, completely like by the book, and still there's no way that any other campaign, even running it raw and by the book, is going to have that same experience. No matter what. It's so sandboxy. It's such a cool. I love Curse of Strahd.
I know you do. God bless. In September, Oathsworn, Odyssey of the Dragon Lords. We saw Oathsworn. We started. We kicked that off, and that's been. Okay, I gotta give props to my boy Comrade and his fucking character. Like, everyone on that cast is phenomenal. But the fact that he puts on a helmet every time they go to combat, and he's playing the most himbo of himbo, and he's doing it so well. Like, I can't with him. It's just the energy. Like, every time I tune in, I'm like,
such a himbo.
Yes, like, to like nth degree. Every time I like chime in, and he's just like that oblivious kind of like glazed over, like, I don't know. Like, I'm just, it's so good. And then you have Al in the corner just like calculating like how he can be an absolute goblin of like, just how can I
that's just Al showing up as Al, honestly.
Yes.
They're calling him a different name, but it's just Al.
Yeah, and getting to see Turk step from like running like one shots or miniseries into the long form GMing has been super cool to see. And like, he spent so much time.
Love of like ancient humanities and cultures to like
Yes.
to use in his campaign.
Yes. Like so much time and energy like building up and creating this game and like getting to see that actually play out has been like you just want to cheer your friends on and just like dude you're doing the thing and you're crushing it and it's so proud of him. So proud of him. And then I mean we've got HP, we've got Heck, we've got Tony, we've got Chrissy filling out the rest of that cast and like Chrissy bringing the heat with her Medusa look like
Chrissy bringing the heat respectfully with her orange wig.
Yes.
Hi,
10 out of 10. 10 out of 10.
Respectfully.
I just like it's just delightful. That's one that anytime I've like tuned in, I've said yes, this very good. You also ran Flabbergasted in September, which was a fucking romp and a half. I love that system. I cannot wait. I backed the project because I loved it so many.
I know. I'm so excited to get my stuff.
In the new year, I want to play more of that. I love the idea of because we both vibe so fucking hard with like that aesthetic of like the old timey like around the world in 80 days.
We started our friendship on old movies.
Yes.
So that whole like the whole like bringing up baby kind of vibe where it's just like madcap humor hijinks where yes there is a leopard wandering through Fifth Avenue of Manhattan and yes we are going to take it out to our mansion in the country and deal with this and our old Model T 100%. But like also I grew up watching the Great Race with,
the Great Race
with the great Leslie and Jack Lemmon.
I fucking love Jack Lemmon so much.
So it's just that level of humor and like Natalie with like just them in their beautiful costumes, like with this humor that's like it's a little bit slapstick and a little bit tongue in cheek and it's just very 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 good and sometimes you miss it until like the 40th rewatch. With Peter Falk off in the corner making faces that you've never noticed before. And it's like, has he been doing that this whole time? How many times have I watched this movie?
Because he's a fucking genius.
When the creators messaged us about running that system for them as part of their Kickstarter promo, it was like, yes, absolutely. I will run this and we will have a lot of fun.
And so many Kickstarter projects through the year. We had Necrobiotic, we had Flabbergasted, we had Dungeon Bitches, we highlighted stuff for Midnight Tower, Crucible Magazine, Carbon Gray, like so many different Kickstarter projects that we were able to come together and say, here's the game, here's how it is, and run through it, which again, I think just speaks to how broad this community, like how broad TPK is growing. And how we are like calling out the different like we're helping elevate the different creators. Yeah, and it's like such a cool thing to be a part of. Like it's so freaking neat. We also had the Liminal Horror one shot in September.
Yes.
Chrissy ran that, correct? I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Very, very good.
That was a lot of fun because it's all about that slightly unsettling vibe of like this empty hallway and you're not sure why you're so off put by these in between spaces. The empty lobby in the old hotel, it's like I'm just in a lot, but it's these spaces in between the rooms of like, you know, and when I was designing the overlay for that one, I was really trying to like live in that space, and when I finally got it ready and sent it over to Proper to like get like, you know, we always bounce each other back and forth like, what do you think of this? And he's like, I'm very off put, but I don't know why. And I'm like, got it.
We found it.
Ship it.
The creepy vibes. Chrissy reminded me too, Chew, which I think is like, as we're going through the months, Chew was another Kickstarter that we highlighted, and that game was fucking wild and very fun to participate in.
We also did TPK
Game Jam. Yes, which was so cool.
Yes.
The endless creativity of this community is fucking flabbergasting. Like, it's just real neat.
The absolutely ordinary cave, transforming Princess Kaiju, thinking with portable kaleidoscopes, tiny purple kingdoms. Like, I love all of these names. Everything was TPK or
Yes.
Total Party, something
Yeah.
related.
So good.
Heck, I don't know how to pronounce the word. Total phagocytic killer.
That sounds about
It's
right.
immune cells. It's immune cells.
So
I don't
cute.
know.
It's so cute.
But yeah, no, we did the TPK game jam, which was awesome over on Itch.
Yep.
Where we just had creators and writers and a lot of our own community members submitting games and systems and little
Yep.
everything for that.
We had Blood and Grit kicking off, where we collaborated with Zeke Gonzalez, which was which was such a cool mini series. Like that was one I would Sunday mornings I'd throw up some Blood and Grit and watch freaking corn dog as Roscoe is everything.
Himbo energy.
So
Himbo
good.
energy.
Corn dog.
Killing
it was amazing. It was so
Yes.
so good. I loved it. Your look for that, Beulah, are you oh my god. Like it just and getting to see Zeke run a game, and the system was super cool too.
Yeah, so we started with Devil Aim for Me, which is kind of similar to Proper's like Generational, where like you kind of do a little world building. You do these deals with the devil, that sort of thing. So we actually built some of the lore for the world that we played in the very first session. And we all played as different characters, which show up later once we start the actual system in Fistful of Darkness, which is another Blades in the Dark hack, which just, again, that system is so cool. But yeah, Weird West, man. As someone who lives in the West,
yes,
I feel like I've grown up on like with this environment around me and just on cowboy movies directly into my veins. So like doing the whole
but like weird sci-fi, like it had that like
my love of sci-fi and my love of the macabre like coming in to like join with like my home in the West. Like yes. Absolutely loved that setting. And Zeke not only is my favorite DMs Guild author, but like he is a wonderful DM. You feel like no matter what, he is championing you as a player. Like he is excited about whatever idea you're bringing, and he rolls with it.
And that's such an important energy to have, like as a GM, right? Because I think it's very easy to fall into that, like GM versus player, like we're exchanging blows, like we have to outsmart or outwit. It's like no, dude. Play with them, collaborate with them, tell the story with them. And it just, when you have someone who just intrinsically brings that energy, it's just choice as hell. We also had the Scurry one shot, we had Dark Veil Sneak Peek, we had the Curious Case of the Murderous Jelly Jar, and then Return to Isla Nubar, which was the Jurassic Park game run by Fazul.
Yes.
The Hubris of Man, run by Meg, as well.
We had
in September.
All Hallows of October month.
Oh my god.
It was almost every single day we had either a spooky one shot or the content that like the already pre-existing campaigns and content on the channel went a little extra spooky for All Hallows. We had Too Swift, Too Vicious come back for it. We had
which was a system written by the incredible Keegan EXE, which like if there's a win for me this year, it's getting to collaborate with Keegan. They are phenomenal. We ran the Fast and Furious one shot earlier in the year, Swift and Vicious early in the year on a whim, just to be goofy, and it was a romp. And then getting to connect with Keegan, like it, like the universe is like running parallel. Keegan wrote a Fast and Furious system while they were watching our game, and like it did not, because of it, just the universe aligned in this perfect way. And getting to play Keegan's system in October, and just getting to experience all the stuff that they've created, and all the different systems that they've made. The DDTV we played later in the year. And I mean, we can announce it. Keegan's our guest on the show in January.
In January.
Yes. And so it's I just eternally grateful to get to like meet and work with people like Keegan. They are a fucking delight and a half. We also had, I mean, so many things. Henshin Ago.
We had the return, the Murder on the Prime Water Pleasure.
Yes.
The return of Murder on the Everon Express, but this time on a boat.
This time on a boat. And Berman, freaking the legendary Berman, is everything to me. Every time I sit down at a table with Berman, I wanted to kiss. I wanted to kiss that character right on the mouth. Yes. So freaking delightful. We had Henshin Agogo was running, and we have to do kudos. Henshin Agogo and the City of Mist campaign, Madness It Calls For, are both listed on the official websites for those systems, which is so cool. Like, what a great way to like highlight the efforts and the talents of the folks in those games. Just neat. We had Pangolin Prom, we had Chew, we had I'm like looking through all the fun little different things. We had Secrets of the Blind Palace. We had the relaunch of our show, Luka. We had the
relaunch of Murder and Coffee. Yes,
which was delightful and so much fun. Just craziness. Into November, the Insurgents in the Ranks project that I worked on with Magic, starting with Sentient, followed by Miracle Brew. We did that, the collaborative double GM kind of vibe, which was super cool. I ran a couple of one-shots by the Old Oak Tree being like a top tier moment for me. We skipped over it too.
Arner started,
kicked off
Lord of the Rings miniseries. Yep. We had Phoenix and Basilisk crossover.
Yep. And I want to go back to just to do some of these for us. You wrapped up Harper's season 2 earlier in the year, which is wild. You like not only did you once, you went back and you did it again. Amazing, so cool. We wrapped up the Bard's Refrain, which made me cry so many tears and was just
tears.
So many good.
Many tears.
Oh God, it was such a delay. And even like this month, even with the holidays, we've still kept it hopping and going off. Like it's just been amazing.
Yeah, we've been doing Harper's, but just kind of one shots, not connected to anything.
Yeah,
doing those seasonal chaos.
Yeah, I mean, Purple, we've answered your question in the most long-winded way, but like legitimately, like it's so hard to quantify like all of the wonderful moments that not only we as individuals have had, but this community has had. Like just some so the YouTube for TBK continues to grow. We're looking to hit 1,000 subs in 2022. We need your help. Go subscribe. But we have 20K views on YouTube, 40K on Twitch total. Electric Bastionland was this huge success over on YouTube. We've had special merch designed and dropped. Our Discord community is about 230 strong. Like it's just the growth that we've had over this year as a community, and again, like watching the other GMs on this channel just continually knocking it out of the park, like bringing in incredible content, telling incredible stories, like, and doing the dang thing, you know, like it has been something else to see and just be around. Just amazing categories. We've got a couple of, Luka, I know we're kind of getting close to time, but I'm hyped on like celebrating the folks, and we've got more stuff to cover. We good for like another 30 minutes, do you think? Go a little long, a little more.
Edge it on the side of 15 minutes maybe, but yes.
That's fine, because we've got a couple of questions that I want to get to. We've got a question from Ash of
favorite NPC,
either as a player or that you created as a GM. Sound me true.
Yes. Azuth. Easy.
Oh.
Easy.
I love him. He's, God bless Azuth. I think that I've created, honest, like the one that captured my heart. Like I love Azuth and is top tier, but honestly, D. D is like wholesome goodness and like the kind of person I aspire to be level of like NPC. And she's not goofy or silly, but like that was one that I was just like, oh, this is a good NPC. Like when we got to the episode where we finally got to see the backstory of some of the folks, like getting to like tell Dee's story was phenomenal. And watching you guys' response to it and like the immediate respect you had, it was just very, very, very good. Mine is fucking the Beholder that Rory encountered. I fucking I dream and I fucking love that guy. Like it was just and like this the immediate like, bro, you want to travel here? We got some places for you to go. Like that was.
I really that's another one I want of art. I want this Beholder with the like the Hawaiian tourist man shirt on, you know, with his like eye stalks, like he's got on a little like straw hat and he's out there with his camera, like just being a tourist, like checking out all the things that Rory told him to go check out now that he's no longer serving on his contract.
I wanna hype Harper season 2, and I wanna hype a lot of the work that you did, because the NPCs and the storylines in Harper season 2 like legitimately grabbed my fucking curiosity and did not let go. Like you had this woman that was running around causing a ruckus, and what I loved what you did with that story was that like she was doing bad things, but you could empathize with her, like really empathize with her. And like all of the Shields of Keeping, all the different one-shots, how they all fed together, like I adored like almost every single game Lady Malice has my heart and soul. The little troll community, I can't even, like not as we Hamish, like even the king, like all of these NPCs were so beautifully like built out and like felt like a part of a coherent story and world to me as a player through that. Like I need to hype this to the sky and Duskbringer, like to the sky and beyond. Like I loved what you did with Harper season 2. I loved the direction that you took, and again, like I can't. There's too many. Like Ash's question about the NPC. There's just too many in Harper's alone. That's not to mention all of the other stuff I played in, whether it's the AI in freaking Altered Carbon, or freaking Nakor in Stargate, or insert plethora of NPCs. Like just too many to count. What's something you think you learned in TTRPGs this year, or something new that you tried besides new systems?
Prepping less. I have tried. I used to be such a chronic over prepper, to the point where it's like sometimes it would lead to frustration because we'd never get to like I'd have whole, you know, cries in Skirvin Manor, but like I'd have whole you know, all of these notes and handouts and lines of dialogue for NPCs and NPC art and maps and sounds that just sometimes wouldn't even get touched. And like sometimes they were things I could shove off to another thing, but a lot of times they were very specific to that one shot. And so it was like, this is a lot of time that I'm not going to get back. And nothing against the players. We still like, we just went in a different direction and never got there. So the whole, I am going to prep less. I will only prep the major things. If we don't have a map for every single scene, I can rely on my players to use their imagination. You know, things like that. Like I definitely embraced the prepping lesson, even since Harper season 2 ended, and we've just been doing the end of year like one shots every other Tuesday just for fun. Like we've been doing Theater of the Mind, where it's like there's very little prep. Like I've basically just got the adventure and the monster stats in front of me, and we usually go so far off book that it's like, well, I don't need this anymore. I'm just making this up as I go. So it's been something I have been learning. Yes. That was one of those sessions where nothing went as I thought it would.
It was delightful. It was my favorite thing.
I've been learning to prep less and not worry so much if I don't have a handout for every single thing, or a map for every single possible room you guys could step into.
Yes. Something I learned in TTRPGs this year, and I kind of already talked about it, but expressing the gratitude or the things that I liked. Like, and I was involved in a lot of projects that like kicked off and wrapped up, and being able to kind of sit down and say, this is what I took away from these characters. I got into the habit. So like Rory, I have like a paragraph of, this is what I learned from this character. This is what I learned, you know, from running this game. This is what I learned from running this moment. And really taking the time to express that gratitude and live in that space, I think has not only helped in the TTRPG space, but like the life space in general. And like a little bit to your point, like leaning into the silly, like leaning into. I got to the end of like TBR, and straight up the way that you guys needed to save a dragon was have a freaking dance party, like just leaning into the silly. It was so effing good. And like it's they are games. Like as much fun it is to tell a compelling story, at the end of the day, they're games. And they're freaking delightful. I would say I think that's it. And something new I tried. I mean, I did not prep less. But maybe next year, huh? There's always time. But I do think the Iron GM, an idea crafted by the incredible Purple Phil, and then explored in TPKCon. That was such a growing experience for me to be able to participate in, and showed me a lot about how far I've come as a GM and where I'm actually at. Sitting down, writing a one-shot in an hour, and then getting it to run it in February with a bunch of people that I had not had the opportunity to play with was such a cool experience. Like I like, even if you like don't Iron GM, like I recommend people try it. Just do it. Throw up a timer, give yourself an hour, and go for it. Like just to see what comes out of it. I guarantee it's probably going to be better than you think it is. Cuz that was my experience. Like I didn't, that's something that would have horrified me in January.
Yes.
And yet here we are, and I did it, and my confidence and experience as a GM has only grown from that. So 10 out of 10, do recommend. Hey, Luke, you want to ask this next question that we got from Bright?
Have you ever TPK'd while sitting in the GM seat? And how did it make you feel?
I've not TPK'd. And honestly, I am afraid of it. I am terrified because, like, I am attached to my players' characters, and, like, I don't think I can emotionally, like, carry that burden. I had my very first character death this year in a Harper session where you nearly TPK'd us. You were one character shy.
One character got away. Barely, because they were monk running speed, monk shit. But I mean, I kind of count that as my second TPK.
It was pretty good. It was
an
pretty good.
entire house devoured, a party. One of you managed to run out the door just in time. But I think it counts. Yes, thank you, Purple. I think it counts. That was my second TPK experience in the seat. It was just a one shot though, so it's not as impactful, and afterwards I felt fine. I thought it was a lot of fun. It was very much like a good hearty like GM chuckle where it's like I can't believe that actually happened, because usually it's like, oh, they get out and they save the day and okay, it's fine. But it's like, no, this is the end, y'all. This is it. But my very, very first TPK in the GM seat was during Harper's season 1, the first year of TPK. It was about halfway through the season. They came across an ancient green dragon, and they did their best.
God help them.
But she destroyed them. And she's a green dragon, and I don't always go straight by the book, but I love the idea of different dragons having like slightly different personalities. And these green dragons are very, you know, they're kind of vain. They're kind of, you know, they keep things as pets. But they came up and just cast something on her. The audacity. So she's a little upset. So not only did she hunt them down
Oh, it was painful.
by one,
It hurt.
but after she dropped them to 0 hit points, she shredded their bodies, throwing them up against the trees in Tony's case, just absolutely scorching them. So it wasn't just a TPK. It wasn't just a full party TPK. It was a full party true death TPK. And I remember everyone afterwards was just it was kind of the stunned silence. And even I was just very like, oh, what do I do now? And I full on, for the next week, I went into that DM Odin sleep. But it was very much like, what
do I do?
Like, it was very much like laying, like, I killed them all. Oh God. Like, it was a weird, like, reeling back of emotion of like this, I'm not even sure, this overwhelming sense of like, what have I done?
Yep. 100%.
Yeah, just to suffer. That was, yeah, no, it was very much like I was feeling it, Mr. Krabs, that whole
100%.
week after. And everyone always is like, oh, Luka, she's like laughing about killing Play. Meanwhile, I'm over here just in the shower in my Spider-Man suit, just like, did you know that they mate for life? You know, just like that kind of thing. It's just, it was a lot of emotions. I was very upset about it, but we pulled through. We got 2 Harper's members, and they came around, and we had the second half of Harper season 1.
We pulled it together, man.
And all the beauty that came from that. So
it was
the big
so
TPK.
good. So good. We're reaching the end of our time. I want to talk about Murder and Coffee really quick, because we've had our relaunch, and we're trying a little bit. It's the same. It's the core of what it was, a little bit newer format. I'm really excited for some of the topics and guests that we're going to be bringing on. We already talked about Keegan coming in January to talk about necromancy and death in TTRPGs, which I'm so excited to dive into that topic.
Very excited about.
We've got a bunch of different topics. I'm going to pull up some and we're kind of share. We want to talk about, prepping and running modules. We want to talk about playing to player strengths and narrative importance. We want to talk about homebrew. We want to talk about sci-fi, building NPCs, and a bunch of other stuff. But we also, guys, we want to know what you want to talk about. We want to know what's information you guys find meaningful. So whether it's here in chat or on Twitter or in the DMs or wherever, let us know. Because again, I'm going to speak for us both here for a minute, Luka. We want to approach this as like a helpful resource. We want to create that. We want this to be a conversation for GMs, because oftentimes we kind of hide behind our little GM screens with our little secrets, and it's very great and cool. But what's greater is being able to share those ideas and those tools and those resources with each other. So if there's stuff that you want to talk about, tell us about it, because we probably will talk about it.
Tell us your secrets.
Tell us your secrets. I want to know what's the cool shit that you're making, gang. I want to know. I want to hype. I want to freaking A. It's all the exciting stuff. And then in closing of this whole dealio, Luka, can you maybe like, I don't know, kind of like tell us what GME stuff you're gonna have going on in the new year? Maybe some secrets, maybe some sneak peeks, maybe some. What are you making? What are you buying? I want to know.
I do have something coming, maybe multiple things, but one thing for sure, which I have been sworn to still secrecy for, announcements, but I can hint.
Hint, hint, hint.
It'll be a little bit of a variant on what I've kind of done already in terms of what I've been running. A little bit of a character study opportunity, a campaign built around that.
Yes.
And we'll maybe have some super cool people showing up to really show us their characters. And when I say show us their characters, I mean really show us their characters. Not always in the same familiar setting that we're used to seeing them in. We want to get to know them, not just where they're used to hanging out. So it's
Very
gonna
cool.
be a lot of fun. But also there are quite a few different little one-shots or smaller, 3-part arc kind of things that I am looking forward to running. Both on TPK and possibly some other places. Keep your eye out for that. But no secrets, just stick around and keep an eye out.
Awesome.
I'm very excited though.
And where can people find you? What are some projects that you can hype right now that you want the people to know about? I think this is a great opportunity to talk about the incredible overlay that you've made for this show and other shows as well. Can you talk a little bit about that as we close out?
Hi. So I'm Luka. I do GM on TPK Roleplay, and I do play on TPK Roleplay as well as like Nat20 and other channels. But in my spare time, when I am not murdering my players with houses or dragons, I am I'm making stuff in the Photoshops. I am designing overlays, handouts, and stream packages for the TTRPG online community. You can find me as Lukalok just about everywhere. It's a relatively unique name, so you go find me there. It's probably, if there's a Lukalok, it's probably me, but definitely on Twitter. And from Twitter, you can find my link tree and find me all over the place, my portfolio, my Fiverr. If you ever need something made or just want me to edit your face onto a really cool hot bod, I can do that for you.
Yes, please.
I'm Santa this year. So
gotta get that. Gotta get that Jolly Father Christmas bod. Hell yeah, boy. Get it.
But yeah, that's me. I'm Lukalok, and my campaigns right now, like I'm gonna be running the last Harper's in its current form, how we know it now, this week, this Tuesday. Just a seasonal one shot, since we've already kind of said goodbye to season 2. It's just for fun. And then we've got the holidays off for Dark Echoes, but we return on the 15th of January, I believe.
Yes.
And we may or may not have a special guest for that. But it'll be fun.
I know. I'm so hyped. I love it here.
But but I am also playing Dania of Arthedain in our Shadow over Arnor, our Lord of the Rings campaign run by Fazul, as well as Celine Caliburn, the Excalibur rift, mythoid rift in Madness Calls It Forth, our City of Mist campaign. And other than that, I'm just laying kind of low until secrets are revealed.
I like that.
That's where you can find me. Sarah, what about you? Do you have any secrets?
What about me? I mean, I've got some fun stuff coming up in the new year. We're gonna be closing out some of the stuff that I'm playing in. I've been kind of taking a little bit of a break from the GMing, other than the occasional one shots. I'm looking forward to running more of those in 2022. I will be stepping into a new system, and in a new genre, really, as a GM mid 2022. That I'm really excited to get down and dirty with. Keep an eye out for Frank Keegan EXE projects. We might be putting our heads together to create some really interesting content that I'm so there's nothing better than like a 1 a.m. direct message from one of your favorite people that's like, okay, but what if we made this? So I'm hyped about that. You can check that out. I have a lot of ideas stewing and a brewing about a bunch of different stuff. And I've got a bunch of stuff going on right now. You can find me Twitch, Twitter, all the places at OsarixFranco. I'm in a variety of TTRPG content here on TPK Roleplay, Nat 20, Neon Lights Roleplay, Critical Misses, all the places. Every single place that I can be, I want to, because I can't get enough of the incredible stories told with the incredible peoples and friends. I just, like, in parting, we've spent 2 hours going over, lessons learned as GMs and just celebrating the incredible moments and incredible people that this community is made up of. And I just, from the bottom of my little gremlin heart, want to say thank you to the TPK Roleplay community, to the creators, to the collaborators, to all of the indie designers and role players and people of the internets that come in and tune in once, twice, 5 times a week to participate in this incredible collaborative space, telling stories that matter, making connections that are meaningful and long-lasting. It's inspiring. It's beautiful, and it's all the things that friendship and art and storytelling should be. Just huge freaking kudos, you guys, to all of the incredible content stories that you've made. All the moments. There's not enough clips in the world to capture just the pure magic that happens on this channel with these people, with this party on a regular basis. So y'all are the real ones. I'm constantly blown away, not only by the talent that my incredible co-host Luka brings to every fucking project she's on, but like all the people we have here in chat. Like, I think the world of each and every one of you. And I'm so grateful that you're here sharing your stories and your talents and like more. Just more, please. Like more. There's not enough slices. I need more slices. Give me more slices, god damn it. You're beautiful and I love you a whole bunch. But that's gonna do it for us. Luka, any other thoughts?
No, I feel like you kind of really just covered every single point that I would have, so I'm gonna leave it there.
Awesome. Well, to that then. Until next time, I encourage you all to enjoy your piping hot coffee.
And your cold-blooded murders.
Later, y'all.